and welcome back to the Flax Sweater tutorial. This is a tin can knits pattern that you will find a link for in the first video if you wanted to join us. We have already done the neckband, we have worked part of the body increasing at the sleeves because it's a raglan sleeves, and now we're going to divide off for the body. Mine measures 8.5 centimetres because that's what I need it to, the length from the neck down to the bottom of the armhole. For this size I'm doing the adult third size, so I have reached that point, so depending on what size you're doing depends what length you need to do. But when you get to that length, then we're going to be dividing off the armholes. And what this means, dividing the sleeves. So what this means is where we have created those increases, this is going to be our sleeve. So we are going to be taking, sorry about all the loose threads because I've been adding colours. This part is going to be the sleeve, so we need to divide that off so we can carry on just with the body and then come back to that later. So I've already done this side, so I'm going to show you what you need to do for the other side. But what the object is to just put those stitches onto waste yarn so that it'll be safe and secure for while we're working on the body, so we can then pick those up again later. So you will need some spare yarn and a darning needle, or whatever size needle you've got that has got an eye big enough to put your yarn through. So if I go to the other side, so we're going to take this from where your increases come down and your stitch marker is, where mine's already taken mine out. You will then need to put the needle in with the yarn along the bottom. It's usually easiest if you go along the bottom of the stitch because that is where a natural gap is. So just go along and pull it through. You want a nice long length of yarn so you're not struggling. It's better to have too much than not enough. As I say, going through the bottom, there should be, where you've got that cable, there's a natural space that you can go through. And we're going through those garter stitches and then through the other side until we come to the other marker where those increases are. When you get to the other side where the increases are for that sleeve, that's where you stop. You should have your stitch marker there. When you come to the end, take that needle out, get your other end and just simply tie them together. Make sure this is very secure. This is very important because this is what's holding those stitches together, because we're going to be taking it off the needle and they're just going to be loose. So if this comes undone and they're just loose in your project bag, they're not going to stay on. So make sure you've got a good knot on there. Okay, so once you've got those on spare yarn on both sides, then we need to connect that underneath because we're joining it up in the round for the body. So we need to create some stitches to go under the armpit so you've got more room. Obviously it's a moving part, it'd be too tight if we just join that together, that'd be too tight. So the pattern asks me for the third adult size to increase cast on 8 stitches. So what I'm going to do is turn round, so I'm actually at the back of the work, because we're doing cast on, but we want to cast it on from here. So I'm doing as if we're doing a cast on, but instead of a knit, I'm doing a purl. So this is the back of the work, the inside of the work. So I'm going in as if to purl, round, taking it out, and then popping that on that needle like we would do for just a normal cast on. So it's like a purl cast on. So I need to do 8, so that's 1, round, 2. Sorry, that looks so messy in the screen. All my loose from my stripes. 3, 4, 5. So just as if to purl, but then to pop it on there. 6, 7, 8. So when you've done as many stitches cast on as you need to, turn your work back around to the right side, and then what we've created is like a little bridge going across, so we can join it to the other side. Just do a couple of little knit stitches there, and there you can see on yours, probably closer than mine, we've now got that circle that's going to be our sleeve with that bridge at the top. So now we're just going to knit along to the other side. So it's just all knit stitches. This is how it's going to be for the wool down the body. It's a straight body on this sweater. So a nice bit of TV knitting, or knitting podcasts. See what you're going to knit next, see what everyone's knitting, or a bit of floss tube. The next video I do for the flax will be I'll call it a face-to-face chatty one. So I won't be actually knitting, but it's when I get to about the waist height on the main body, then what I'm going to do is, because I like to have quite often, because it's straight and I'm a pear shape, so I like to have more room at the bottom of my sweaters. So I'm going to be measuring it sort of after the arms, so I can see what size it is there, because the size it is on the chest is going to be the size it's going to be on the hip. So then I can decide if I want to go to the next size up to give me a little bit more room around my hips. But whether I decide I'm going to do that or not, I'm still going to make a video just to talk you through how I do that, how I merge one size to another, in case it's useful for you. You wanted to make it a bit bigger. So that's the thing, we're all different shapes and sizes, and you start to learn what looks best on you and what's most comfortable for you, and that's the joy of knitting your own sweater. We can change it to our body shape. We don't just have to have the commercial, what's come out of the factory. We can just tweak it. So I should do that video and we can just talk about that. So if you're not interested in that, you just want to do the straight down, then by all means miss that video out. As I say, there's not going to be any knitting content, there's not going to be any tutorial knitting on that one. It's just going to be a chatty one. But if you just wanted to have a watch and perhaps knit on some of your sweater while we're chatting, I would love to have you join me. So I've just got to where we put that waist yarn in for the arms. So all I'm going to do, just make sure that's securely on that side before I start messing about with this one. So all I'm going to be doing is literally just pushing that off the edge, and we don't have to worry because it's on the yarn. So just push that so it's free. Make sure you don't go too far, only as far as that goes. And then we're going to turn the whole thing around the other way again. Sorry, just knocked you. And I'm going to cast on 8, and you're going to cast on however many your pattern says you need for your size. So it's as if we're going to purl, yarn round, pop it on the needle. So I'm going to do 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then turn the whole thing around to the front again, and we've just created that bridge so we can join up the arm. Oops, so you can see. So there's the hole for the sleeve, and we're just going to make that bridge. Let's take it to the bridge. Right, so we're just going to carry on knitting to join that up and go round to our beginning marker again. And that is all there is. So we just get round to the beginning so we can see where we are, but literally after that it says stockinette stitch, which means knit every row, and that is until the whole piece measures. In my case it would be 14.5 centimetres, inches, sorry, 14.5 inches. So as I say, I'm going to do a nice chunk of knitting so it all settles down in the size it's going to be, and I shall give it a measure. And as I've knitted this one before and I like how my other flax fit, I shall check to see what the hip measurement is on that one so I can try and duplicate it on this. I did a bigger size on the top last time. I did the size up all over, but this time I wanted it to be a little more fitted around the chest and shoulder area, so that's why I went down a size. It's a nice comfortable size, but for me I just feel a little bit smarter when it's a bit more fitted. But the other one is a really nice cosy jumper at the moment. I'm enjoying wearing it a lot. It is my go-to sweater of the moment, that one, when I'm feeling a bit chilly. So really down to the beginning. The only stitch marker we need in this piece now is that beginning of the row marker. I shall try and sew in some of my ends before I see you next time. I didn't notice them quite so much until I put a camera on them. Okay, so I'm just going to put a stitch marker in there. Just put another stitch to hold that on, show where I am. Okay, so now we have the sweater with the arms separated off, And so we're just knitting around the body of the sweater now. And as I say, just keep knitting and knitting and knitting and see how long you want it. But when I get down a few inches, probably about 4 inches, I shall do another video just to have a chat. And so if you would like to join me, I'd love you to. But as I say, if you're not interested in changing the size and you don't want to watch that one, you just want the next tutorial, then I shall see you again for doing the rib at the bottom. So if you don't want to see that one, if you just go down, and I will title it the body rib, so you know that's the next one to watch. So thank you for joining me. Sorry if you've been waiting for this video. I am having difficulty fitting them in at the moment. But hopefully we should be cracking on and carry on and get that done. So I'm on my second colour at the moment. As I say, I've started to do some stripes on the sleeves. And when I get down to about the waist, I'm going to bring in my third colour, which is the darkest colour. So I'm really loving the feel of this and quite excited now to get it finished and be able to wear it and to see what I'm going to do for those sleeves, because I'm just going to make them up as I go along. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for taking part in this. This is great fun doing this with you, and I'm loving every second. So please put any of your pictures, your progress pictures, on Instagram, hashtag simply knitcal. You can find me on Instagram, simply in stitches. I should put the information below if you want to have a look, see what everyone else is doing, how theirs is coming along, and I shall see you again soon. So for now, bye, take care and happy knitting. Bye.